guys, you have to feel like you have a really nice blend of experience, younger guys that got experience last year, an older guy, and then a lot of talented youth. That's a pretty good blend to have in that back end, isn't it?
We got a good group. With RJ coming back, that gives us a ton of experience, and then Khalil Barnes getting the experience. He's a young guy, but he got a lot. Ended up starting and he did really, really good. So excited to have him back. Get Tyler Venables back, coming off an injury, and then Colin Griffin, the experience he got last year, and throw in Sherrod Coble, who's going to be an absolute stud, and the young kids we had come in. So this spring we had Ricardo Jones, come in. You had Joe Wilkinson come in, Noah Dixon come in. So a lot of young guys. Still Colin Webb and Robert Billings are both going to be redshirt freshmen too, that need to get experience.
What's Tyler Venables specifically? He's been in the program so long, his knowledge of what you're trying to do. You ever find him sitting there helping other guys?
Yeah, he's a lot like RJ. They both came in together. He has a great knowledge of the defense. Unfortunately, he's just had those hamstring injuries. It's kept him out. He's had a shoulder injury. He pulled a pec. He's just been hampered with injuries. So I'm excited for him. First of all, he got a full spring in, which was great. And then for him, we'll see how he does this fall. But excited, for early fall to actually get all those reps and get him going. So it's good to see him with a smile on his face out there, performing, and coaching, and doing what he does best.
What does RJ being back specifically do to this defense? Does he just give it that charge?
I think it's a big help. The safety is such an important position. Because that's kind of become the game with nickel defenses now. You have to have that extra safety to move down to nickel. But for RJ, he can play all three of them. He can play strong safety, free safety. He can play nickel. But I feel like we've got enough depth around him. He can settle in at one of those safety positions, really lock in on that. But for him, in the offseason, to be able to coach all the younger guys up, knowing that he knows exactly what to do, alignments, assignments, keys, reads, and being able to convey that message. He's been out on the field in key situations, so he knows what it's like and can explain that to the players. It's a real asset for us in our defense. It's like having a quarterback back on defense. He's got to get all those coverages and all those keys and calls down.
Jeff Tyler on the sidelines last year was kind of a player coach with the headset every day. Did it feel like mini Brent was out there again?
It was great. Yeah, it was great having him out there. I wanted him to have a role, on the field. He couldn't play, but I wanted him to have a role. So I know he wants to be a coach someday. I thought that would be the best thing to do, man. So we put a headset on him in some of the games and said, "Hey, let's go to work." And he took pride in it. He was just very unselfish and jumped right in. And he did a great job. And could compare him to his dad. He's a lot like his dad. They're the same people. No question about it.
You obviously don't want to have the injuries that you suffered last year, but it did throw some younger guys into bigger roles. How much does that help now heading into this year that those guys have faced good teams? These guys have faced Kentucky in that passing offense and, some of those better teams, North Carolina at the end of the year, South Carolina.
Yeah, it helps. You throw, and there's some young guys that are, they're just waiting to get their opportunity to show what they can do. just like Khalil Barnes, he gets thrown in and next thing you know, he intercepts the pass, he knocks, causes a fumble, next game runs a touchdown back, just all this playmaking ability. You're in the recruiting world. You know what we brought in here. We've got some great athletes that are coming in. They're just waiting for an opportunity for that door to open so they can get in there and make plays. What's important is for those guys, those young players, to see the light, to see that crack in the door, man. When they do get their opportunity, they're ready. If they're not sitting there waiting, such and such is back, I got to wait another year. Hey, no, you got to be ready. Khalil Barnes was ready. his number was called, he was ready. We got in there, man. He made plays, and that's what these young guys or these backups you got to do. Colin Griffin, he was the backup going into the Notre Dame game. He was the backup to the backup, and all of a sudden Coble goes down with a knee injury on Wednesday. He hadn't got a lot of reps Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but Thursday he had to get all the reps. Friday's basically a 20-minute walkthrough. He got all the reps, and boom, he comes in against Notre Dame and gets the interception, to kind of seal the game. And then Georgia Tech gets another interception. He was ready. He didn't sit around and pout. He was ready for his moment. He took advantage of it, and that's what these guys have to do. And that's the mindset you got to have at a place like Clemson. You got to be ready. There's good players ahead of you, but you know what? You're a good player too, even though you might be a backup. You're a great player too, or you wouldn't be here. And when your opportunity comes, man, go in there and shine. Go take a job. And that's what Khalil did. That's what a lot of the guys have done since I've been here that's gotten that opportunity.
What can Khalil do now to take that next step?
Well,
we saw the flashes.
Well, he just needs to stay on course with what he's already done. He just needs to keep, he doesn't need to try to do anything. What he needs to do is let the defense work for him and play within the scheme. Just keep working hard on his game, mentally understanding what we're doing. I think, with the game, the way it plays so fast, I think the game will slow down for him this year, just recognizing formation, personnel within the formation, and all those little things, besides just knowing what to do. I think when you're a freshman, you're just trying to learn what to do. I think after you've played a year, now the game slows down. You can recognize formations. You can recognize the personnel within the formation and what you're going to see. I think you're going to see Khalil take that step, where that game really slows down. And I felt like it slowed down for him, towards the end of the year. You saw what he did in the South Carolina game. So, you got the scoop and score. Here's a true freshman. Everybody else kind of quits on the play. Well, hey, not him. He scoops the ball and runs it back for a touchdown. Sure enough, it's a touchdown. Well, on the next play, they try to take him deep. He knew exactly what the play was going to be from film study. There was actually two guys open on that play. Our corner bit up on the run, but he knew that he was going to throw that over route at about 22 to Xavier, and he was ready. He came off the corner route knowing where they were going to put the ball, and that's film study. And that's coming from a true freshman. But to answer your question, it was late in the year, late in the season, and the game had started to slow down for him. And then boom, he was able to go pick that ball off.
A lot of young players on the field, defensive backs. How important is that leadership for RJ Mickens in the back end?
I think it's really important. I think it's important that he's a leader. I think it's important that Tyler's a leader. Khalil, I think he'll bring leadership. In today's world, having 1 year playing experience, that's a lot of experience too. But RJ's got a ton. He just don't need to overthink things. He needs to go out there and let the defense work for him, not try to do too much, not try to guess, play within the scheme as well. Not just don't overthink himself. Guys that are smart like that will do that.
What is it with these freshmen, Ricardo, Joe, that kind of intrigued you, and what do you think they bring to the table?
Ricardo, Joe, and Noah both.
Noah, yeah.
I'll start with Noah. Noah's really a mature kid, and I think he brings a lot. Like the one takeaway from the spring in recruiting, it was about his size and speed. This guy can run. He's big. He's physical. But taking it from the spring, tell him one time and he gets it. He understands it one time. He's gonna make a mistake, but then he learns from it, which I took from him. Joe Wilkinson, he's a guy that was like state player of the year. He was an underrated guy by the media, but just made play after play after play after play. His high school years. And then he comes in the spring, he'll knock your head off. He's got incredible instincts. He knows where the ball's going to be. He's really instinctive and physical when he gets there. Good listener. He asks good questions. And then Ricardo in high school is just a playmaker. he's just and nothing's changed. He comes in the spring, and he was making those same plays. You know, he's physical, he's aggressive, but he's a playmaker, and he's an energy bunny. I mean, the guy just brings a lot of energy to the defense and makes people around him better. I mean, he just brings a ton of energy. So, you know, I'm really excited about that, because defense is about energy. It's about enthusiasm, man. It's about having fun. You know, defense is different. You got to have a guy that brings that energy, and he's a guy with that kind of, you know, that kind of enthusiasm I love.
Will Sherrod be ready for camp? Or?
Sherrod's going to be ready, man. Really excited about what he brings to the table. You know, he's a guy that's just kind of been sitting back waiting his time. You know, and he's going to get his time in fall camp. You know, I'm excited about that, because he's got as much ability athletically as anybody that we got on the defense in the secondary. I mean, he can run, he's physical, he can hit, he's instinctive. Just, you know, I mean, his nickname in high school, I think, was the Missile. I mean, he's just going to come out of nowhere and just hit you. You know, just really physical, and now having 2 years under his belt, learning the defense, learning the position. You know, I think he's ready, you know, to take the next step.
Is he as much a talker as we think that he is?
He's not a big talker. He's a big guy just with his pads. Like, he seems that way because he flies around, he's everywhere. But I mean, he's not a guy that really runs his mouth. He just likes to do talking with his pads. He likes to hit. I mean, he loves the contact, and and that's a great thing, and that's why I recruited him. You know, but at the same time, you know, you got to be smart back there too, and not go running yourself out of plays.
When it comes to losing a guy like Nate Wiggins, who have you seen kind of in particular kind of slide into that cornerback one role and take?
I think Avion Terrell is going to be a stud. You know, you start talking about corner. I think Avion is going to be. I think he's going to be great. You know, at that position and fulfilling that role. And then you got options with Shelton Lewis, who finished the spring as number one, but then you got Jaden Lucas, who's a guy who's played a lot, that was injured in the spring. I think is going to bring a lot to the table. So, but Avion right now, to me, coming out of spring was a stud.
Richard, Kylan, Rob.
Yep.
What is kind of the next step for those two guys?
Yeah, those guys just need to. I mean, both of them are big effort kids. I mean, they give a lot of effort. They got a lot of size to both of them. They both run really well. I think for them, they're going to need experience, and to build on that experience. With experience comes confidence, and with confidence comes opportunity. You know, I want a guy in the secondary who's, if you're not confident, and confidence comes from knowing the defense. That is the key for them. Just being confident in who they are, man. They're great players, great athletes. I want to see that confidence on the field that they need, you know, to take the next step. And I saw that this spring, and I'm looking forward to seeing that this fall.
Felt 3 years into NIL, this as a thing in college football.